Disclaimer: I'm aware of Chloe's pronouns and I'm using her/she in this essay. I'm also non-binary-ish, but I still struggle with the neutral stuff, grammatically. Especially because English is not my native tongue. I hope that's okay.
There once was a bittersweet man and they called him Lemon Boy. He was growing in my garden so I pulled him out by his hair like a weed.
Chloe Moriondo comes from the Greek Chloistikos Moriandaskas, which roughly translates as my hope for a better world. But it wasn't always that way. You see, every time I come across a new artist, a long and exhausting process begins. I start to precisely dissect their content to find out how good it really is. And is Chloe really all that? Well, let's find out. But which piece of art is in fact entirely good? And what even is art? And what is the meaning of good? Of course, I'm not here exactly to give you a lesson on art theory or any kind of philosophic gibberish. I'm here to give you my take on how one can grow, learn, laugh, still be yourself, and still achieve success. Just like the girl on TV. And maybe then, somewhere in this essay, I'll drop some thoughts on deeper stuff. Chloe is pretty much metalinguistics. She sang about being small when she was small, and now sings about being big while being huge. And that's what being an artist should always be, faithful to their very soul. Always. Well, the year is 2018, and I just gave up college for the first time. The ukulele was a new thing for me, as it was also a jumping platform to a whole new concept of music for my tiny metal world. My YouTube algorithm eventually made me stumble across ukulele content, and there she was, Chloe Moriondo, a seemingly shy girl with a perfectly tuned voice and a genius take on harmonies.
Was doing a thing called the crocodile rock, while the other kids were rocking around the clock. We were hopping and bopping to the crocodile rock. Well,
and those things really kept me around, as they're not easy stuff to find among YouTube ukulele covers. Chloe was disciplined and precise, competent, a singer. But one day, she came out as a writer.
Hi, so today I'm going to be singing you a little original that I wrote last night.
Original songs were released, catching attention from already successful artists like Cavetown, that if she didn't already know him before, but anyway, I so cherished that. I loved seeing someone I admired reaching out to people that could someday bring her the attention she deserved.
Da-da-da! Okay.
And slowly it happened. I saw Chloe on a show with Robin where she hit amazing high notes. That's when I started suspecting she could be a genius herself. Not only the harmonies or the precise notes, her.
You look away, I'll spit them out. And when I fit in, I'll break back
out.
I'm not that good at keeping up with what happens to famous people, even with Chloe, who wasn't even that famous at the time. But once I realized some director or something like that from Mayday Parade's Black Cat worked on her music video of Kindergarten, I was baffled. It was already coming together. Chloe was discovered.
On the bus home, I told my mom not to pick me up today.
Being found is something that I always wanted for myself. Maybe that was one of the first things that made me connect with this artist. I was always needy, especially artistically, so the very concept of signing with a major label flooded my brain with dreams. I've got over 70 original songs by now, but yet to get recognition. I see other minor celebrities get to play around, but almost never their originals. So could I be capable of being discovered too? I'm not an exceptional singer or a masterful ukulele player like Chloe, but I really thought a couple songs of mine could at least reach the popular field like Kindergarten did. So around Mentor Ray's release, I started focusing on that and kind of forgot her. But later, with a more developed musical knowledge, I found her back, and things were different. Not just the hair. Chloe's songs changed drastically over the years, speaking of a progressively contrasting darker theme, creating this quite interesting image of a devilish and gory but cute girl. And not just that, at one point, Chloe showed even more change in tone, becoming her own version of a pop star. And I don't say her own version in vain. Chloe dangerously threaded on new ground, still keeping the idea of a misfit. Or did she? After all, things got too different in the end. It made me question who was the real Chloe.
Alright, so I'm gonna play this next song, which is the second song I ever released to the internet ever. I'm a little baby, so it's called Silly Girl. Flowers bloomed when he walked.
So let's begin. Rabbit Hearted, her first album, is a bittersweet one with a minimalistic theme made of ukulele strums and harmonies. Depressingly sweet. Simple as that. Still, Chloe had a way of being quirky about her music, as her lyrics about shyness and self-depreciation resonated well with her public.
Well, I'm just a silly girl in a stupid dumb world.
They also rambled about love, teenage love. Well, she was around 16 years old when she released it, so teenage themes must have been pretty much in sync with her mindset at the time. Her voice in those songs sounds experimental, as if trying to reach something but not necessarily holding on to it. It's not exactly insecure, but also not entirely confident. It's calm, somehow deeper in tone, and not very expressive. It is simple, but it really worked.
Sleeping has never been so easy.
Sometimes overthinking can feel like more than overthinking. It's like I'm trapped in spaceland and I'm not coming back.
Spaceland is my favorite track in it because it expresses really well the overall feeling of the album and also shows how Chloe can write satisfying harmonies with only 2 ukulele chords.
Back. I'm losing touch and I'm not enough. I'm losing touch and I'm not enough.
All of the time I'm thinking about things too much, and then I end up out of touch.
Moving forward, Spirit Orb is slightly brighter. Rock and pop instruments are added, meaning she must have had some help to arrange everything. And it makes sense because this album is the one with Kindergarten. Unless she turned out to be a producer herself. Who knows? I'll let me underestimate you in this essay, Chloe, so I can be even more impressed someday.
To speak to ice cream stays. I'll stare at the ceiling stars and wonder why life's so hard. Locking the door, I will talk to my floor and I'll say, oh my friend.
Anyway, she still kept the ukulele, showing whoever she worked with still gave her freedom to use it. Overall, the composition of this album is still quirky, but also more pop-like. Chord progressions are slightly more predictable than the previous album, but still very pleasing to the ear. Chloe's singing takes a leap in Spirit Orb, showing more emotion than before. Some tools can now be found in her voice, like higher runs, even though they are still shy and contained, and even small melismas. Her voice does seem higher in this album, and the song that shines the brightest is of course Kindergarten, as it represents the moment Chloe softly stepped into pop territory.
Would you like to share lunch with me? I'd surely be delighted to be the one
Two to go. Blood Bunny sounds like a counterpoint to Rabbit Hearted, with more complex harmonies, chord progressions, and a darker yet more mature nature. Rock instruments in this one are still a major configuration, with variations like acoustic guitars and keys. Drums seem less electronic now, like some kind of professional stepped in. The message in Blood Bunny shows itself to be more about growth, switching a little bit from that needier point of view. Still, love declarations are scattered all over the album, but in a more confident way. The voice you hear in this album is some kind of a surprisingly moving joyride. It starts with a more common performance in the first track, as it grows to what must be the best display of Chloe's singing until now. Her tone sounds higher overall, mistaking Rabbit Hearted for a later album in which her voice appears deeper.
Straps on your glasses, say what you mean, I wanna be with you. I can take it. All you want's right in front of me. I can fake. I'm here stuck alone and feeling miserable.
Girl on TV is a real banger, and the first track to give a taste of what this singer can do, with beats of a technique that resembles rock and roll drives.
I don't even like myself. I wanna be happy to be easy.
Especially in the pairing of the words stunner and wonder, higher notes are rapidly followed by lower notes with ease.
Goddamn, she's a stunner, like the eighth world wonder.
But when it comes to what if it doesn't end well, it seems like anything is possible for Chloe Moriondo. That song is a masterpiece. The second chorus delivers a higher octave, which is already insanely impressive, to later blow my mind with beautiful, clean, and powerful belting screams.
What if it doesn't end well? Could we still be fine?
Not to mention the precise emotional input of some words like stay.
But what if it doesn't end well? Would you still stay?
Blood Bunny does mean business, even though it doesn't start all that impressively.
And I won't care if you don't like it.
And when it came out, I was sure Chloe is a genius. Oh, I could try to talk about puppy love, but dogs are sacred and so is this album. I won't dare to touch on it. I listened to Chloe Moriondo now for almost 5 years, and up to Blood Bunny, I was pretty satisfied with her progression. You know when you wish a show wraps it up in the current season so it doesn't get worse? I confess, that was what I wished for, and I asked myself if I was right to do it.
Says I'm sweeter than a cherry and she likes it.
Sucker Punch, her latest album, is a shot in the dark. It goes from that quirky pop rock to a mainstream hyperpop in a blink, what I thought probably disappointed many fans, especially those who followed her from the beginning. In fact, it did disappoint me too at first, but not because she drastically changed her style. Sucker Punch songs scared me in many other ways.
Okay, this is me basically just
Being a fucking critic.
with a sucker punch, sweet enemy. I'ma knock you out, call me Ollie. No.
Sucker Punch's chord progressions sound common. They are simple and seem forced. And not only instrumentally, but her singing kind of hides behind much spoken word and bold voice filters.
To try and act your age, eyes down on the pavement.
The whole project presents more superficial messages, far away from the deep, emotional, or even sad approach seen previously. Chloe did not want to show any vulnerability this time, and I was definitely not okay with that. Being vulnerable and talking about it was what really drove me to listen to her. I related to every lyric and sang along to every other harmony she created, because that is how I grew to build any emotional connection in my life, that being my relationships or even my own songs, with dependence. And Chloe did not sound dependent at all. Where was Chloe's genius?
And isn't that what all of us want? To be seen and heard and to have our needs responded to. That's the essence of empathy. So about 10 years
You see,
ago, a student
empathy
of
is
mine
a very
called me
complex
up
exercise and
and
can go
fascinated
sideways if not handled
He
with the
wanted
right
to
pace
find out
to see things
whether,
clearly. And
when
to
there
apply
was
any kind of judgment on anyone, one should firstly learn how to judge itself and separate entirely what came from me and what came from what I saw.
I'm not surprised by this at all. I live with this every day, but no one has ever seen my pain.
It's bad. It's looking really bad, you guys.
And that's what I tried to do, because I was even more scared of losing my passion for Chloe's work than of the songs that made me doubt her capability. I wanted to understand what happened. I wanted to follow, to learn, and feel.
All right, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. It's gonna happen and it's gonna be good.
So, before anything else, I looked into myself.
Don't try to make yourself remember, darling.
Gabriel Orlando was someone I still had to learn how to respect, because I kept facing failure after failure in my life. My first job got bankrupt. My second one fired me after I couldn't get out of bed over a bad breakup. I quit college about 3 times, always being rescued back to the small town I grew up in. The last rescue was caused not by something, but someone. That being a girl who left me agonizing alone in the hospital waiting room to go kiss her other girlfriend. When she broke up with me because according to her I loved too much, I sat on the street floor and cried. She just left me there and went back to the dance club to take selfies smiling with her friends.
Fuck you with all your vlogging shit. Lucky you, I'm all fed up with it. It won't take long to shoot in here. My patience up the stratosphere. Fuck you and all your tattoos. Lucky you to have not thought it true. Symbols are more than I'm seeing. You're trying to keep it all in.
And bad breakups were pretty common for me. Every time it happened, I thought I was the only one hurting. Until I started receiving attacks on my YouTube videos comment section, accusing me of bad things. I don't know if I'm still that monster from my past, if I ever was, because I got dissociative amnesia. But that hit me so hard, I tried to kill myself. So I was hospitalized for a few days.
Joguei a faculdade fora. Vou me matar amanhã. Vou me matar amanhã. O que eu não fiz pesou agora. Vou me matar amanhã. Vou me matar amanhã. Seria melhor se os meus amigos, entre aspas, deixassem de passar na minha frente sem cumprimentar. Seria melhor se eu conseguisse, entre aspas, deixar minha cabeça passar na frente sem me machucar. vocês vão chorar, depois vai passar. Tudo vai passar. Eu vou me matar. 5 ou 6 vão chorar. Depois vai passar. Tudo vai passar.
Although, after leaving the hospital, the sky somehow looked more blue. I guess being that alone and doped in a cold room, getting needles and more needles, made me realize there are scarier things than the idea of death, and if I also failed to die, I would end up back in there. So at the same time I started to desire change, people showed up, and I managed to give them love without hurting anyone. I've never been closer to my best male friend, and I finally told my best female friend I've been in love with her for 5 years, without hurting our relationship or hers with her partner. And on that same night, I listened again to Sucker Punch, after being without Chloe for nearly a week, and I think I finally got it.
I honestly get so bored so easily. I can never predict exactly where I'm going to be in a year from now. I mean, I'm 19 now, and I definitely would not have expected to make Sucker Punch a year ago.
Being an artist must get harder and harder once you get recognition, especially if you are young. Art is a conversation which causes emotions to come and go, reflecting not only what the creator feels, but also what impact their creation makes on people. Think it that way, we can get to the conclusion that the whole collection of one's work tells a story, since every album learns from the previous one. After all, no story stays in one place. People grow, things change, everyone hurts, and everyone's culpable. Life can be pretty interesting if you keep learning from your own story, and that's what I wanted to find dissecting Chloe's story, or else Sucker Punch would mean many sad hypotheses about her music. Here I go again. Firstly, Chloe's sudden shifts in style did start once she got to be listened to. That could mean her work only got development with producers and managers' aid. Secondly, her lyrics turned out to be more distant and less intimate with every album, with some few exceptions. That could mean a team was helping her create, and it was. Chloe's latest songs are all co-written by some people I will never know. Thirdly, the ukulele was finally gone in studio recordings. That could mean her self-expression was suppressed. Was Chloe Moriondo really a genius? So, the night I told my best friend how I felt, I went through that entire album once again, and some new thoughts popped up. Popstar experimented with some kind of a more childish sound, but it delivered powerful rhymes in pair with vocals full of confidence, which is totally not childish at all. It started differently, full of contrast, and it made sense.
I'ma drop it low in 3, like 1, 2, 3. Got the boots with the fur, dripping ice like bourbon. Play hand in mine, are you down to ride?
Fruity captured back Chloe's intense vocal expression, returning a little bit to that cute tone and colorful lyrics. It went over a different direction, it varied, and it made sense. Trophy went back to Popstar's vibe, showing a whole new presentation of Chloe's voice as it runs through some kind of rap lines. It worked wonders, because she went for a more mature presentation. And man, she's expressive, so it made sense.
Used to wear lashes to the airport. Fuck it up like Sully on the stair floor. Bubblegum dumb boys wishing that I cared more. Get smart, what you waiting for? Baby, I'm a trophy.
Hit with the sucker punch, sweet enemy. I'ma knock you out, call me Ollie. No, you wouldn't last one round with me.
Knockout could go back to that glimpse of childish, but instead talked empowerment and played with an incredibly catchy chorus. It got me off guard, and it made sense.
And another one count, and then another one count. Baby, I'ma knock you out, just wait. You're taller in my boots, I'm taller, and I think you'd look better in a coat.
Hamhounds enhanced the violin theme with heavy vocal distortions and cool sound effects. It was thematic, and it made sense.
Hounds, yeah, they'll put you in a dog pound. Watch your step, cause the light's low. Sit down, cause you're in for a big show, darling.
Hotter for Clowns gave me mainstream chord progressions, but instantly melted me when she dropped those A's,
Hey, so stay
or shifted quickly to the word drown in a lower register.
drown.
The song also features words about being judged.
Oh my god, is that girl insane? Something must have broke her brain.
Chloe can be sassy, and after listening again to her versatility in What If It Doesn't End Well, it pretty much made sense.
Stay a while, stay a while. Come on, Barbie, let's go party. Pop champagne like Callie, get naughty. Don't need nobody.
Dress Up seemed darker, with fry vocals, more spoken word, and different personalities in one same verse.
Off, coming in on fire like a fucking Molotov. I don't wanna be polite, I'm sleepy of being soft. I got money on my mind.
Seems like Chloe can really act, so I observed her facial expressions in the live version of Girl on TV, and it did make sense.
Staring at my phone, I'm bored as hell. Tried to feel okay, but that shit's difficult.
Plastic Purse, her personal favorite, reached the breaking point.
It's gonna be Plastic Purse. It's my favorite off the album. I love the music.
The darkening themes collided in a more melodic tune, with peak-level lyrics and smart build-ups. When you expect something that would sound more like Hellhound's distorted vocals, you get sweet and beautiful harmonies when she sings Right. And should you check the music video, you get blown away by Chloe's acting once again. It makes sense.
Right? Right? You would probably like that, right? I can be that girl, face of all the magazines.
Celebrity acknowledged the climax that just happened and bring back Chloe's sweet, naive interpretations, followed by more deeper tones. One line does talk again about getting famous and being judged for that, so it made sense.
Why? Chloe, why are you like this? How did you get so big, so famous? How'd you break away from the heinous plainness? Way you're moving, baby's gonna end up aimless.
Finally, I got punched in the gut by CD Baby, and later by Cry, but I'll focus on the first one because it hit me harder. Then I will end this album's analysis for an impactful closure. Cry is beautiful and vulnerable, but ironically, I cried instead with CD Baby. Anyway, honestly, I didn't even understand how I could have passed through the entire album before without noticing this song. I guess when you search for a single item in a full fridge, it kind of disappears before your eyes. And maybe this song blended among the others when I wasn't open enough to find it, when I was dependent, scared, unloved, and hateful.
That's rough, buddy.
When I needed Chloe to be exactly what I wanted her to be. CD Baby is fast and full of sense. It doesn't sound like Chloe at all, but it also does. It takes you with it by a firm grip, making you at least bob your head when the beat comes in. And suddenly, Chloe starts to sing.
I play my music too loud, and I really wanna see it right now.
She sounds more mature than in Blood Bunny in this one, using the quirky diction from that album, but with a softer, calmer, firmer interpretation. In fact, it was so soft it almost knocked me unconscious, just like in Rabbit Hearted. And I was very okay with that, but not because I just could have gotten the old Chloe back, because I didn't. I never could. I loved it because it proved to me that Chloe was good for me. She nailed hyperpop and still showed power and freedom to give me a last taste of her melodic roots when I was already prepared to let her go. Of course, CD Baby could mean many other things. It could mean Chloe still has creative freedom, as it could also mean, like I said, a farewell letter to quirky Chloe. But I choose to believe she's more than my New Year's little big obsession. She's human.
I wasn't super worried about what other people would think of it. I felt like it was kind of expected of me, to be honest.
She did start on YouTube.
I can't believe I just did that whole take with my foot up, and I'm probably gonna keep it too.
She did show immense potential from the very start.
Give me everything you got. Don't need drugs, cause I can already feel my head right.
She did scream at Cave Town's show.
Looking at a dead man.
And did reproduce What If It Doesn't End Well's belting live perfectly. Speaking of live performances, there's no denial Chloe is a performer, from expressive body language, to slight singing improvisations, like going for higher notes in a verse or chorus for a pure talent display. But she also kept being shy once in a while, just like in her very first YouTube videos.
Thanks, guys.
Excellent. Chloe, thank you for...
That's an artist full of layers. Oh, I also can't stress enough how perfect that vibrato is in Dog Days Are Over. And finally, Chloe did say in an interview,
I think I've learned the most from a songwriter I've worked with a lot recently named Steph Jones. And she's definitely taught me a lot about what working with other people in music means and how it can be a good thing and not a thing that makes other people control your stuff. I worried that my music would go in a direction that I didn't want it to, or that I would just start going with the flow a little bit too much, but it didn't really end up being a problem, which I think is cool.
And that's all that matters to me, you know? Because I keep forgetting people are people, always made of the bonds we share along the way, and Chloe's bonds do seem pretty real to me. I don't know for how long Sammy will live, but I'm glad that you created the concept of puppy love. And I don't know what made you change into Sucker Punch, but I found my way to enjoy it anyway.
Pointed straight at me, hear him scream. Can I get a picture? Pretty, pretty, please. Fantasy, know your life was getting boring without me. TMC, watch me bleed out on your screen. It's a celebrity, celebrity.
Cause I don't dictate you, Chloe. I hope you do. And I definitely don't depend on you or your music to be okay anymore. I let it overflow me, instead of having to complete me and fill me up to my blind expectations. I am my own foundation now, and you're the painting and furniture. I know I will always have the naivety of rabbit-hearted. I know I will always shiver when I hear you scream so damn perfectly. I know I will always have you, and most excitedly, get to see you grow, learn, laugh on your tracks, just like the girl on TV. Chloe's head voice never sounded so pretty like in CD Baby. Not even in the most emotional tracks from previous records. It is breathy and intimate, maybe vulnerable as in Cry, just like me when I wrote it in that hospital room. So I cried, cause Chloe sang about being in love again. Not about stepping on boys or becoming a pop star. Of course it is fun, smart, and it makes sense. It is definitely more meaningful to someone out there than how What If It Doesn't End Well is to me. Cause even in the fullest, most colorful fridges, we should still be able to find ourselves in that lost piece of watermelon, pink and green, with all of the seeds. Chloe, I love all of your seeds, and I love you. Not because I need you, but because I see you, and I will always be willing to listen to what you have to show.
I feel like I changed completely from Rabbit Hearted to Blood Bunny. I feel like anyone could think of like when they were 13, 14 to like 17, 18, 19 is a very big, crazy change. I went through basically middle school and high school and everything after that until now through that sort of shift. So it's been a lot and it's been crazy, but I'm proud and I'm glad that I'm here. So that's cool.
By the way, seeing you change is the ultimate proof for me that you are you. I changed too, you know? I guess we all do, and someone will always cherish that. Maybe they just have to listen to that controversial album a few more times, perhaps after confessing their love to that already committed friend who might never even feel the same way. It gives some pretty deep lessons on how to love people, even your favorite artist. And I bet you already know all of this, Chloe, being that amazingly bold, unique, and successful as you are. And you deserve all of this praise, and much more. In fact, you did make me write the possibly very first video essay about you on the internet, or at least the one that rambled the most. In the end then, what is art? Well, as I said, art is a conversation, like this one we're having right now. And it is important to reflect on how art itself implies a connection, like the ones I had with Chloe's work since I first saw her, then along her progression, and most recently after revisiting Sucker Punch. No one will ever connect with every song, and that's okay. It's not about being good, it's about connection. Every technical argument in this essay is nothing more than my opinion, my connection, and maybe you will connect with me too. So what is the meaning of good then? For me, and I repeat, for me, it is Chloe. Because beyond being an insanely talented genius, she made me realize everyone can get better, be better. For example, I don't even like myself, and somehow I did improve. It just took me a while, and a little help from a record I didn't even understand entirely, to finally see it. Because now I see it. Thank you, Chloe. This is my love letter to you. Hope you like it. Cool.
Sometimes overthinking can feel like more than overthinking. It's like I'm trapped in spaceland and I'm not coming back. Sometimes when I'm floating it feels like my head's overflowing, and it's not too difficult to detach, but it's hard to come back. I'm losing touch. rhythm. The ceiling's spinning and I think that God is winning, 'cause I see my hands are shaking and I cannot make them stop. Fish swim so quickly and I feel so fucking guilty, and I miss all of my friends. Please, where did they go?